Joins us now for her first ever TV interview. Carey, it's great to have you here on Closing Bell. In a minute or so, what's the past year been like for you?
Sarah, thanks for having me. I'm so happy to be here. I can say in 10 seconds, the past year has been absolutely wild.
So what happened when the pandemic came on? How did you ramp up production enough to meet demand? And where does that stand today?
Yeah, so, we did several things pretty quickly. The first thing we did last February, when we could see that this was going to be a really significant surge in demand, is we turned on all of our manufacturing 24/7. Pretty quickly, that meant that we had to secure more components, things like bottles and pumps and caps. And so we went out and creatively sourced that stuff from all over the world. We then had to hire people. So we ended up bringing on over 500 team members pretty rapidly. And then the last piece, which has really been perhaps the most important, is we pretty immediately decided to make significant investments to expand permanently our long-term capacity. And so we've spent over $400 million in 12 months. That's like 10 years of capital spending for us. We've tripled the number of plants we have in North America, and we're now able to produce really exponentially more than we were before the pandemic.
So I guess the obvious follow-up question is, are you confident the demand will maintain once we're through the other side of the pandemic?
You know, we really believe that the new normal is going to be about two things. It's going to be about visible hygiene. Germs are invisible. Hygiene has to be visible. So it's going to be about visible hygiene and about badge brands, brands like Purell that are really the most trusted brands in their categories. And so I truly believe that the combination of visible hygiene, which is, sanitizer dispensers in sight anywhere that customers can see them, and the power of the Purell brand means that demand absolutely will sustain. It won't be at the levels it was at last year, but it's going to be exponentially higher than it was in 2019.
Was going to ask you, Carey, about the strength of the brand, given that so many more companies are now making sanitizers. I mean, a lot temporarily. We saw the distilleries, the alcohol companies get into it, and the beauty companies get into it. Are they still doing that? And is it a whole new competitive threat out there with so much demand?
So, Sarah, hundreds and hundreds of companies came into our space. The vast majority of them were coming in really quickly. They were distilleries, they were chemical manufacturers. They were sort of opportunistically coming in to try to take a bite of the pie. Most of those opportunistic folks have left. The FDA actually banned 240 brands of sanitizer that came in quickly and were either unsafe or ineffective. So most of those are gone now. I think that consumers know. They know that we've been in this business. We invented hand sanitizer in 1988. And we've been in this business over 30 years. We are obsessed with safety and with efficacy, and they're really voting with their feet. So our share is more than twice as high as it was before the pandemic. And we've been the market leader really since our inception.
Purell clearly is all about hand sanitizer. Has this past year and the brand recognition that presumably you've gotten as people's usage of hand sanitizer has soared given you a platform to launch totally new products that you're considering?
So, we are really dedicated to hand hygiene and to cleaning the surfaces that people touch the most. From our inception, we've really been about solving real human problems that have to do with touch. What I will say is that our Purell Surface Spray and our Purell Surface Wipes products, which have the same promise, that same safety and efficacy, they're no rinse, food contact safe. They're products you can use around your dog and your baby. Those products have seen just tremendous interest. They were sort of brand new before the pandemic, and I think that they will really take off as a result of this.
We've seen a lot of price gouging, Carey, especially on Purell early on. It was hard to get your hands on a Purell hand sanitizer. I've seen them return back to the shelves. What's been your strategy on pricing as you have had to make adjustments on manufacturing?
One of the real benefits of being a 75-year-old purpose-driven family enterprise is It wasn't a hard decision at all. We did not raise prices 1 penny at any moment throughout the entire pandemic. We still haven't. And, that was in the face of cost of our supplies going up dramatically. Ethanol, for example, was through the roof. But we really felt like, given our purpose of saving lives and making life better, that just wasn't the right thing to do.
Very interesting story. Carey, thank you for joining us 1 year later. And keep us posted. Carey Jaros, the CEO of Gojo. Wilfred, which has got to be it's crazy that it's still a family-owned company. Yeah, and surprising that it's not part of one of the big CPG companies.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.